Imagine a workplace where your passion isn't just acknowledged, it's celebrated. A space where your purpose aligns seamlessly with your professional journey, paving a way for you to live your greatest life possible. It's peaceful, it's authentic, it's successful. Today, we'll have a conversation about passionate pursuits, empowering women in the workplace for peaceful progress. I am Elizabeth Dr. E. Carter, your corporate elevation strategist. I am honored to be part of this summit and to be able to share with you what I have learned about pursuing my passion and my journey with peace. A little bit more about me, Elizabeth Dr. E. Carter. I will tell you, back in the day, I didn't know if I wanted to be a lawyer, a banker, or a drifter. I could not figure out what I wanted to do with my life after I abandoned my childhood dream of being a lawyer. But I found my way into the finance profession in the insurance industry, and I've been thriving there ever since. But I find that finance is what I call my master discipline. But my passion discipline is talent development and training. I love being able to allow others to understand their path, their purpose, so that they can thrive in the corporate workplace. And I have a desire to break the eight. And what is break the eight? Statistics showed that less than 8% of Black employees held roles at a managerial level or better. It is my desire to move that number. So that's a little bit about me, Dr. E. Carter. Today's objectives. We're going to talk first about how we can continue to ignite our passion even though we know that challenges exist. We will talk about how we can align our purpose with strategies for empowerment, and I will provide you some tools so that you can forge your path to a peaceful journey. First, igniting passion, but understanding the challenges. And when we think about igniting, there's a spark. Think about it. When you are working in an area that you enjoy, you feel this energy, like this fire under you as you're doing your work. But we know that there are so many obstacles that want to put out that flame. We'll talk about some of those hidden challenges and understanding. And actually, I'm going to change that to changing societal expectations. Because a lot of times we don't have peace because we are continuously trying to learn and live under the guidance of other people who may not understand us, don't have the same desires as us, but we think that we need to please everyone, but you don't. First, identifying hidden challenges. And first, let's just talk about some statistics because the numbers don't lie. For women, we are 50% of the population. But less than 40% of women hold managerial positions in corporate organizations. Less than 25% have a senior leader role, and less than 9% currently hold CEO positions in Fortune 500 companies. And when we look at persons of color, we know that those numbers are starkly less. And that creates a lot of pressure. We're trying to live a peaceful life, create this peaceful journey, but there are so many statistics being held against us. And let's just talk about a bit of some of the challenges we have trying to navigate the workplace. A lot of times, and I've been in many organizations where they claim they can't find talent. Oh, we can't find people who are at X level to lead a team, department, organizations, corporations. And the challenge for women starts well below mid management. I love this visual here. We talk about this problem called the broken rung syndrome, where for men, when they come in as individual contributors, they seem to be able to walk clearly up the ladder without any obstacles. Women, you see, there always seems to be some obstacle right at the bottom that keeps us in individual contributor roles. I will tell you, when I first started my finance journey, I had several broken rungs in my career. I was working toward a managerial position. I knew I had fulfilled all the requirements. I had done all the prerequisite roles leading up to that particular position. But my company still made me do a temporary assignment where they sent me to the corporate office to work for the summer. They wanted me to see if I was really able to handle the pressure of the position, being able to navigate the upper leadership of the organization, be able to relate and communicate and collaborate. It's all well and good, but I didn't think it was necessary. And often we'll get discouraged and not even continue the journey. But I kept fighting and fighting till I got to where I wanted to be. But I can tell you, I have a lot of bruises, internal bruises, mental, psychological from that journey. And I love for women to not have to go through what I went through. The second set of barriers comes at the upper levels in organizations. There's two different types. The first one is called the glass ceiling, and that's the woman on the far right, where you see her able to peek through that ceiling. So glass ceiling says you can see what's happening above you, but you may not necessarily know how to get there. The second challenge is what we call the concrete ceiling. And that's the one you see on the left, where everyone's got their head beating up against the ceiling because there is no clarity in what is next. Quite often, we are given a concrete ceiling type of role where the probability of success is low. We don't get the support. We already know going in it will be a challenge. We are doomed to fail. And then when we do fail, she was the wrong person. We knew she couldn't do it. But that's because you didn't allow her the opportunity to thrive. So those are some of the challenges that we have that will prohibit us from pursuing our passion, from us living in the world that we know we deserve to be in and can thrive. And there are several other challenges. After a while, we start to feel complacent because we have determined that we can't do anymore. We are tired. We are depressed, even. We are okay just where we're at. We know every 2 weeks or whatever the frequency is, we'll get our paycheck. We know what it is. We have our schedule in alignment. We're good. But we are stifling our own journey and our growth in complacency. And that possibly can create missed opportunities. We start to think about what other people think and make decisions for ourselves, thinking, oh, what will she think? What will he think? What will they think? It doesn't matter what they think. What's it that you want to do? What is it that you want? Imposter syndrome also. And that is where we believe that we have arrived, wherever that may be, based on pure luck, timing, not because, hey, you know what? You earned it. You deserve it. You worked hard. You had the experience. You had the exposure. You had the education. You had every right to be where you are and never second guess yourself. Fear of failure. We may have at some point in our life made a mistake. We what is life without mistakes? It's not about what went wrong, it's about what you learned. And the last one I have in the workplace is microaggressions. And there are several different types of microaggressions, and they may feel very subtle, they may feel very innocent, but they're meant to hurt. So as we're thinking about how do we keep that fire ignited in what we're doing, we have all of these challenges working against us. The other piece is I had understanding societal expectations. I made that changing societal expectations. Because here's the challenge. The research says women are still driven towards certain types of roles in industries. You'll see here teachers. In our careers, women are more than 70% in those roles. Same with human resource managers. Over 70% of those roles are being held by women. When we now move into some, I'll call them newer areas, such as finance, marketing, now it's only about 60%. Life sciences, all of our medical, and I'm so excited that number is growing. It looks slow here, but it is growing. Technology, and even I have just one position here because I work in finance, chief financial officer. So as we're thinking about societal expectations, we're not, I would say, we're being told to work in certain areas, but every single discipline is available to us. Construction, working in engineering. We know that STEM industry is growing, all of those. So we have to continue to think about what are our expectations? How can we thrive when we know we may be the only person in the room? The other challenge, of course, we know is the wage gap. This shows the cents per dollar income based compared to men. So, of course, again, teachers are the closest to being paid similarly to what men are being paid. But when we look at all the others, 75 cents on the dollar, 80 cents on the dollar, 85 cents on the dollar. So there's still this essence of inequity in pay. So why would I pursue a role where I know I'm not even going to get paid the same as my male counterpart? I might as well go ahead and become a teacher. At least I know what the job entails, and I know that I'm at least being paid fairly. So there's a lot of work that needs to be done in thinking about expectations, pursuing our passion, and keeping that flame ignited. And I'll tell you, there's a lot of pressure in doing that. Again, I work in finance. You saw that the finance positions, not a high percentage of women in them, and there's still a challenge in the pay disparity. And in 2016, I thought I was tearing it up at my job, doing well, getting good reviews. But I was always challenged by being the only female of color in the room. I even had one leader say to me, well, you know what, young lady, maybe finance ain't for you. Because I was struggling. It was some of the pressure of having to perform all the time. You know, when you think about it, you have to be on 24/7. You can't relax. You have this essence of, we call it, executive presence, but it really is about ensuring that no one questions your ability. No one questions who you are and why you're there. But then our expectations we have of ourselves are always high. We want to be the most prepared, the best spoken, the best presentation, where we know our counterparts will walk in empty handed, not prepared. And for me, knowing and seeing all that and then being laid off, I was so upset because all of that left me was with high blood pressure, high cholesterol, and I gained a ton of weight. So there has to be a better way. Have you thought about your life? What's been going on in your world? Have you had this essence of pressure, expectations, sometimes unrealistic expectations in your life? Yes. Now, how can we start to recognize that and move beyond it? Because I tell you, it won't go away. It really is, how do we manage it? How do we manifest in our life areas of joy and know that we are working in our passion? And those days when it's not going very well or when someone's getting on your nerves, you can step back and say, it's okay. I know there is something higher and bigger and better for me. So we'll talk about now aligning purpose with professional and personal values, and how can we empower ourselves through communication, which is so important. First, aligning the purpose. And I love this diagram. You have to first step back and think about what motivates you. And very often, there are several different areas that we live in. I'll start at the top. What we really love doing. And it is probably not even what we do in our day job, in our 9 to 5. Second, I'm going to go counterclockwise. What are you amazing at? The bottom, what can you be paid for? And last, what does the world need? And amongst that, you can create your own, you know, your passion, you set forth your mission. So my mission is to break the 8. I love talking with women of color, especially about what they're working on. Allow them to see outside of themselves, to see how beautiful and wonderful they are. Talk with them about what they enjoy doing, separate from what is there, what I call master discipline. That's the thing that you do that pays the bills. We get it. Once you wrap all of that together, you have this middle that's called your zone of genius. Once you're able to visualize all the components, and I would encourage you to draw a diagram and keep it by your desk and look at it every day when you going to work, even when you're going to bed at night, somewhere that reminds you, I'm working in my zone of genius. Some other tools to allow you think about where your that alignment and passion is what we exercise called core values. And there's tons of areas that you can go ahead and find this exercise. It really is stepping back and thinking about, first, what are those 12 true, meaningful words that describe you, that you live by, that are non-negotiable? Then you would look at those 12 and pick your top 6. And what you do is, again, these are non-negotiable. When you are looking for an opportunity, when someone asks you for help or wants you to be part of their team or a project, double check, does it align to your core values? And as much as we love to say yes, because we want to help and we know our skills are needed, a lot of times we have to say no. And no is a sentence and a final answer. Remember that. The second exercise is the wheel of life. This is where we assess areas of our lives and determine how well we're doing, against our own expectations. and determine where we might need to shift what we're working on or shift and do less of something and more of something else so that you have this essence of what we call balance. And I say balance doesn't necessarily mean equal balance. Balance means the ratios work in your favor. So I would encourage you to think about finding exercises that will allow you to determine what are those values that you will stand by and always ensure you're working in. The second component of that is about effective communication. And I first want to talk about what is communication. This visual is such a great thought process about how communication works. Because there's areas, of course, as we all very well know, well, communication becomes miscommunication or misinterpretation. So first of all, as the sender, you have to ensure that what you are going to convey is meaningful, and that is verbal and nonverbal. I'm big with hand gestures, but that helps create the essence of the passion, the emotion, and it could be mad, you could be happy, you could be upset. There could be so many things that you're wanting to convey as the sender. The second piece is how you are going to send this communication. Of course, we know we can write it, we can email it, text it, do a video, we can speak it, talk to the person one-on-one or send a video message. And the channel makes a difference because you don't want the person who's the receiver, when they decode what you said, to misinterpret it. That's why so often I'm not a fan of multiple emails. I know at work we get a little lazy. We send an email, comes back with a question, you respond to the question, another question, respond to the question. I say, if you're back and forth 3 times already, pick up the phone or go see the person, because that means that there's not clarity in what you are asking for, or they're not understanding. And that's really where communication goes wrong, because the receiver is not interpreting the message the way that you had intended as the sender. So the feedback piece is so important because now you need to come to consensus. Okay, here's what I heard. Here's what I thought. Is that what you meant? No, it wasn't what I meant. Okay, well, let's go over it again. And the communication is so important because when we are especially sharing information that might be contrary to what the other person believes should be correct or true, we have to very much stand in our own skin to let them know that this is what you're thinking, this is what you're feeling. And how we enhance that process is by these areas. One, active listening. And I love the exercise of active listening because have you been talking with someone and in your mind you're thinking about how you're going to respond? Mm-hmm. And while you're thinking about what you're going to say, you're missing what else they are saying. So active listening is just that. You are not thinking about a response yet. You are truly hearing every single word the person is saying. Then you can reflect and ask questions or give a response. The other piece of communication is assertiveness. And I curate a group called the Corporate Sisters Network on Facebook. Please feel free to come out and join us. I did some work on sharing with the group about how to be more assertive. And it's not about raising your voice and waving your hands, being more emotional. Assertiveness is really in the tone in which you provide information and clarity in the words you use. Clarity and being assertive as to not undermine or diminish what somebody else has done or said. It really is about ensuring that your words are being heard properly. And that will allow you to thrive. That will allow people to come to you because they love what you have to say. That will allow someone to give you an opportunity when you may not feel as if you're 100% qualified. We may be 85% qualified. So go for it, but be assertive in what you bring to the table so that the receiver hears all the great things and then some that you bring to the table. We'll talk now about how do we go forward. We understand all of those barriers and challenges that may dim our light. We understand how we can assess where we are and ensure we're communicating effectively. Now we'll talk about areas about inclusivity and collaboration and plans for career advancement. First, when we talk about creating a culture of inclusivity, first of all, it's about responding. Responding to people behaving in a less than stellar manner. The only way we're going to be able to move ahead and have peace with ourselves is that we have to allow others to understand where they are disrupting our peace. And it could be something they said, something they did, something was inappropriate. We have to let them know. The second area is allyship. And you can be an ally for someone else, and there would be allies for you, depending on who you are. And what the allyship does, the ally is similarly addressing any areas of opportunity, we will call them. They will address individuals who may not be operating in the appropriate manner. These people are the ones who are very observant of what is going on and where there may be inequity in the workplace. Because again, there's a lot of diversity in organizations. There are a lot of great voices, lots of intelligent people, creative people, innovative people who have a lot to bring to the table. We cannot be silenced. So allies are so important to be the voice for those of us who may be voiceless. And last is awareness. And that really is, what is the company doing to embrace the essence of diversity, equity, and inclusion? What is the company doing to promote mental wellness, physical wellness, even financial wellness? All of that brings stress into an organization and to individuals. And having tools to manage those helps provide for us. The other piece is plans for advancement. And I mentioned earlier this essence of work-life balance. And I cross out the word balance and I call it harmony, because balance can mean something different for everyone. But harmony says, I am fine with the ratios in which I am living my life today. And if I am not, I know what to do more of and what to do less of. And that should include self-reflection. Always checking in with yourself to say, okay, am I operating in my zone of genius? Am I in a place where I know what I'm great at, what I get paid to do, what I enjoy doing? Am I living my core values? How does my wheel of life look? But you must continuously take a look at that because life changes. And as our life moves forward, things change. What's important to us change. So we must continuously reflect on our lives and make sure that we are where we are today. It may not be where we thought we would have been yesterday, but we can always change our tomorrow. The other, self-care. Please take care of yourself. That includes, of course, watching what you eat, exercise, meditation, getting out and being sociable, whatever that is that allows you to feel good. And maybe it's reading a book, going on vacation, taking a cruise, whatever it is, you have to make time for yourself. And lastly is self investment. We do a lot of work for others. What are we doing for ourselves? We are our own best investment. If we are trying to move up in an organization, are we pursuing any education, any professional associations, any other groups that will allow you to be in the room with people who can elevate you, who can empower you, who can share with you what they've been through so that you don't have to go through the same pain and suffering that they went through. And I'd like to share with you how I would love to be able to help you in your self investment. I have 2 books in my Letters to My Corporate Sisters series. I had volume 1 come out in 2023. Volume 2 is coming out right now as we speak in September 2024. These books have women who have shared their stories of being in corporate. They are sharing and being very transparent about what they've been through in order to empower and encourage you. I have on the screen here the QR codes for each of those books. Please take a moment to purchase them. They are also available on Amazon to read and learn so that you don't feel as if what's happening to you is in isolation. These stories, I tell you, you are unbelievable. But I know that if one person is experiencing it, there are several others who are experiencing it also. And my other opportunity for you is to work with me. We just talked through all of the challenges. I love being able to talk to women about what are they looking to do? Where would they love to be in the future? What was that passion that they desire? Many times we think, oh, it's out of reach. I'll never get there. You can. It's just having the determination, the motivation, and the tools to get there. It really is about the mindset and the skill set and the toolkit. Working with me in my Elevate Your Value Accelerator program, it's a 4-month program. We will work together for me to allow you to uncover your passion so that you can live peacefully. You'll gain clarity and confidence. You'll be able to meet other women who will be able to share their journey with you. I'll leverage my network with you. I have so many people. I love to connect people. If you're working on a particular passion project, I probably know someone who may know someone else who can help you get there, or I've been there to help you get there quicker than you ever could on your own. So if you scan this QR code, you'll be able to get on my calendar for us to have a conversation. I'd love to meet you and talk about what you're working on. What are your desires? I am, as I mentioned earlier, a corporatepreneur. I love working in corporate, but I also have my own business appeal where I am empowering women who are feeling stuck, unseen, unheard. I help them get out of their own way so that they can live a prosperous life. And even as entrepreneurs, the tools are the same. I thank you for this conversation today. We talked about how we must continue to ignite our passion despite all the challenges that we are enduring, how to align ourselves, several tools to be able to understand what our strategy is to make sure we are empowering ourselves, along with tools that will allow you to forge forward to a peaceful progress. I am Elizabeth Dr. E. Carter, PhD. I thank you so much for your time as we talked about passionate pursuits empowering women in the workplace for peaceful progress. I wish you well and I wish you peace.